Hey there, so how we doing, folks? The channel's been up and alive for a whole year now. I've been posting on YouTube for a whole ass calendar year. That's crazy. And we hit 5K, we hit the stretch goal. So 1K was, that was what I was optimistically shooting for, and we passed that. So I was thinking, alright, stretch goal, 5,000 subs for the end of the year. And you guys got that out the day of. That's wild. Thank you very much for that. So, in honor of hitting 5K as a stretch goal for the year, and as the first year of CR-Volcanic is coming to an end, we're going to do a bit of a Q&A. So, I put out 2 community posts for this. For whatever reason, the first one I put out there, something in YouTube or that, or I misclicked something somewhere, who knows. A whole bunch of the original ones got deleted, so if you drop something in like the first couple minutes of the post going out and I don't read it off here, it's because YouTube deleted things for some reason. I really don't know why. But you know what? I like interacting with people, so if I don't get to something you asked, just drop it in the comments of this and I'll probably respond anyway, because I like talking to you guys. And I'll do another one of these when we hit 20K. So 20K is going to be the goal for this year. So by January 10th of 2025, we're going to be shooting for 20K. And honestly, I think we're probably going to hit that before the end of the year. So when we hit 20K, I'll set a stretch goal depending on where we are. But I think we're definitely going to get to that. So I'm going to do another one of these at 20K anyway. Alright, so we got 2 community posts to go through. We got about like 40-something questions to go through. And a couple of these, I read through these a little preemptively. A couple of these double up like a little bit. So if I get very similar questions, I'll answer it again, but kind of a little bit quicker. So thank you guys a ton for literally everything. 5,000 a year, some people would actually probably murder for that, unironically. So thank you. Yeah, no, doing this as an actual full-time job is going to be probably an actual thing coming up pretty soon. Like, actually kind of somewhat sustainable. That's wild. So, we're going to go down. We're going to start with the first post. We're going to go to the second one. And we are going to answer what you guys are asking about. Alright, so, from Omega Glacial, what is your best personal memory concerning Monster Hunter? Honestly, congratulations on attaining 5K. You 100% deserve it. Thank you very much. Best personal memory concerning Monster Hunter. That's a lot of crap qualifies for that. It the first day World came out was something different. Specifically when World came out. Because I played it like at release. I was in college at the time. It's just by myself. It was midnight. Like I digitally installed it. And just like I played the beta, right? But just getting to like walk around in the woods. It felt like something that like the franchise was always kind of trying to do. But here it was. Like I was just out in the middle of the woods, just walking around with the animals and whatnot. That was to see where the games had gone, because I've been playing since 2010. So I've been playing for about 8 years when World came out. So I've been around for a while. So to kind of see where it went was nuts. And then I've got a lot of stories with friends, which I might talk a little bit more about, because I saw a couple of other questions asking about big moments and whatnot. So I'll list through a couple of other ones. The night that Safi Jiva, like, it was the Stygian Zinogre event came out with the title update, right? And we got that little teaser stinger off of Safi from an event that they did. Like, what the hell is that thing? And, the Stygian came out and was playing with my buddy Nathan. And Nathan, being better than me at these games, killed Stygian before I did, and then he started freaking out, wouldn't tell me what was going on, and then the first Safi Jiva cutscene comes up, and it's like, what the fuck is this thing? And then we did the like the prelude, the scout thing, and like the Sapphire the Emperor drops, and neither of us could talk. Like, that was awesome. There's a lot of good just individual hunts where usually my friends dying makes up for a lot of really good stories. There's one we like to call The Incident, which was a Gogmazios hunt in 4 Ultimate. It was the first, I think it was the first, and for a long time, the last time one of my friends played the Lance. Uppercutted into, he was flung into one of Gogmazios' tar beams and disintegrated. That was pretty great. Same guy during one of the Safi Jiva hunts was convinced he was behind one of the rocks for one of the sapphires dropping. He was arguing with us that he was behind one of the rocks. He just got disintegrated. When 4 Ultimate came out, another really good story off of 4 Ultimate is that a lot of us got 4 Ult like right at the same time, because we were in high school when 4 Ultimate came out. You know, barely a care in the world in high school, as opposed to like nowadays. So a bunch of us all got on together and just hopped in a lobby online together. And 4 Ultimate was back in the days when everyone had to do their urgent quest individually. So we all played at the same time, did all the key quests at the same time. So we'd all get the, the Darren Moran event, urgent quest at the same time. We got the Gore Magala urgent quest all at the same time. So one of the best memories that we have is doing, it had to have been like the day of or the day after 4 Ultimate came out. And we did Darren Moran 4 times in a row, back to back to back to back. And that's where we coined a machine gun cannon, because we would all deliberately pick up the cannon ammo all at the same time and tried to see if we could get the cannon to fire off like a machine gun, and we could. That was a really good one. Yeah, no, a lot of good stories. A lot of good stories come out of playing Monster Hunter with the guys. That's why I'm really hoping crossplay is out on Wilds, because some of those bastards went to PC. Pieces of garbage. Alright, spent a lot of time on that one. I'm probably going to talk for a lot. This is going to be a long video. I talk way too much. But, you know what? YouTube likes long-form content, so... And this is unscripted. Works for me. Alright, Fortnite Game 9927. Asking 3 questions here. Question 1, do you think in Wilds there will be a new weapon? Question 2, what weapon do you want to see in Wilds? Question 3, if there is a new weapon in Wilds, will you main it through the entirety of Wilds, or will you stick with your original main? Alright, I saw like 1 or 2 questions about this. So, do I think there's going to be a new weapon in Wilds? It's hard to say. They definitely feel like they're really comfortable with the 14, right? It's been a while. It's been over 10 years since we got a new one. They definitely feel really comfortable, and they're just developing and playing around with the 14. If we don't, it feels like we're overdue, but at the same time, if we don't get one, I don't feel like I'd be shocked, right? It feels like they really like what they have. But at the same time, I got to imagine new ideas for weapons are being floated around. And then the question's gonna be, is it gonna be like a more conventional weapon, like the stuff you get from the first couple generations, or are we gonna be in like switch axe, charge blade territory past 3rd generation, when they started to really kind of play around and make almost kind of like sci-fi weapons, like borderline sci-fi weapons? I think I'd prefer something a little bit more conventional. A traditional, like, kind of polearm type of weapon would be kind of cool. Kind of, insect glaive, maybe a little bit heavier and without the vaulting and the insect bit. Something with kind of like a nice medium range, but, you know, less defensive and a little bit more mobile than the Lance. Some kind of like in-betweener there. And another one I've just loved, just because it's very conceptually cool, is flails. I think that could be a really cool one. Maybe a little bit limited in design, because it's a handle and then a chain and then a ball. Like, that might be a little bit weird to get a bunch of cool monster designs on, but you know what? I'm not a weapon design artist, so I bet they could come up with something cool with that. But I've always just loved how that weapon looks. And would I main it if it came out? You know, it depends on what it is. I definitely, yeah, no, it would depend on how interested I am in playing it, and then once I get my hands on it, how much fun I'm having with it. I don't really hunker down with a main weapon. I don't find that to be particularly fun. I've never been kind of like subservient to one weapon. Even for like a playthrough of a game, I'll bounce around a little bit and I'll want to try other stuff. because I'm a big advocate for some weapon matchups just suck against certain monsters, and a big reason why certain monsters get really unpopular is because people pick mains and their mains are really bad matchups. So I pick and choose a little bit. Maybe not so much to the story, but I bounce around. So a new weapon comes out, absolutely gonna play it, and then how good it is gonna determine how much I play it. I've never really had a full-on main. Alright. And then Eel9272. How'd you get into Monster Hunter in the first place? Other than Monster Hunter, what are some other games and series that you like? Again, I saw a couple of other ones about other games that I like, so I'll talk about this a bit. Keep up the amazing work. I'm eager to see what's next for the CR-Volcanic journey. And me too. Alright, so how'd you get into Monster Hunter in the first place? I talked a little bit about this with the monster highlights, because I like to go in and talk about a little bit of my history with the specific monsters. And with stuff like Rathalos and Teostra, who I was introduced to, like, very young, starting off in Monster Hunter, I talked a little bit about my history with them. So, the way I remember things going, so I was over at a buddy's house. I was coming back home from a friend's house. And when I got back home, my dad and my brother were like, Connie, you gotta check this game out that we found. If you remember the Wii had a bunch of like applications you could download. It was they called them like channels. It was kind of like a smartphone type of thing where they had like a whole bunch of channels you could download. They're like applications and whatnot you could do different things with. It was cool. The way the Wii was set up was kind of cool. But there was one, I can't quite remember what it was called, but it was for looking at a bunch of trailers for upcoming Wii games, basically. And they'd cycle through and they'd update. It was a big old advertiser, a bunch of like trailers and whatnot. A little bit before YouTube was like super duper huge for that kind of thing. So they made like a channel about it. And like, Connie, you gotta. So my dad and my brother, specifically my younger brother, was like, you gotta look at this. Like, there's this game coming out where you get to sword fight like dragons and dinosaurs and whatnot. I'm like, that sounds sick. So I watched the trailer for Monster Hunter Tri. I'm like, we're totally getting this game. We went on like the website and whatnot for Monster Hunter Tri at the time, and like they had like the commercials with the dude who was dressed up in the Viking and had like the fake taxidermy Lagiacrus in the back of his truck. I unfortunately don't remember the name of that guy. Unfortunately, he passed away. Rest in peace to him. Yeah, no, I was captivated completely by looking at the website for that game and seeing. I remember seeing like the renders for Devil Joe and Diablos for the first time and being like, that is the sickest shit I've ever seen. So we got Tri, and you know the rest was history. You know, as kind of like obtuse and wacky and not as informative as some of those older Monster Hunter games were. Fell in love, never looked back. And what other stuff besides Monster Hunter do I like? A lot of stuff. I've bounced around with a lot of stuff. I like Souls a lot. Probably haven't played quite as much as I could have because, you know, things kind of cycle around. Love the first Dark Souls. Love the first Dark Souls. Dark Souls 3 is really good. I gotta go back and play more of that. Bloodborne's really good. Gotta go back and play more of that. Elden Ring was amazing. Loved that game. God of War's been really good. Especially the newer ones have been really good. I played the older ones like a little bit. They came out when I was kind of younger, so I haven't played them a ton. But like God of War is like a whole thing is really good. I was kind of we were a little bit more like Nintendo kids. So, you know, Mario's fun, Zelda's fun. Metroid is the Nintendo franchise that really stuck at me, like, really, really well. Yeah, and then I've bounced around and played, like, a lot of stuff. Alright, so Khalil Morris. What do you think about monster hybridization? Should it be a thing in Monster Hunter? Also, congratulations on reaching 5,000 subscribers. Thank you. Alright, so monster hybridization. I'm kind of... Actually, not that surprised, but honestly, I think that's something you could do because you know animal hybrids are something that actually exists in real life. It's not just a science fiction thing. You know, populations, lion and tiger sometimes meet in the wild to get ligers and what is it? Tygon is the other one, or you know, mules are horses and donkeys. So yeah, like actual animal hybrids, like those are actual things. So like bringing that into Monster Hunter, that's not some like sci-fi like Jurassic World contraption where they like start mashing dinosaur DNA together. That's stuff that actually happens. So that could be something that they could do in Monster Hunter and have it actually kind of sync up with things that happen in real life. So the Gravios family and the Blos family, I think, are technically pretty close related. Or you could have the Nargas and the Tigrexes are pretty closely related. So you could have like these one-off super duper rare creatures that happen because a population crossed over with one another inexplicably, and then you have this horrifying terror monster that has like Diablos powers and Gravios powers and like mixes them up into some crap. Like that would actually that could actually work. If they would do that, I think that'd be a sick idea. Legitimately, I think that would be a really good idea. It kind of feels like something out of Frontier, you know, how they had like the origin species and the birth species. If you had like hybrid species, like, that's actually kind of sensible and really over the top and nutty, and I really like that idea. If they did that, I'd be pretty happy. JJD4555, congrats, man, you deserve it. Thank you very much. As for a question, what was the funniest thing that has happened to you in a game? I still reference some stupid moments that happened with friends years ago all the time. Yeah, no, I was talking about that a little bit ago. It's a lot of my friends dying and getting kicked in the balls in Monster Hunter are some of the best memories that I have. Specifically the ones the ones that happen to my friends, because you know all the times I die, it's bullshit. It's not funny. I'll get a couple of these like ones about memories, so I'll see if I can keep trying to like drop more memories and whatnot. I think the single, maybe the funniest one, is one where it was myself and two other friends. We were fighting Kieran at the top of the Coral Highlands. My buddy Matt got paralyzed. I was playing Swax because I run Swax against Kieran, because it works really well against Kieran. And I go for the uppercut, because the uppercut can knock him out of the paralysis, because it's like, it's not just like a nudge, it's like a super knock him into a different animation. So I run up to Matt, who's paralyzed on the ground. I uppercut swing him, send him up into the air. He goes hurtling through the air. Kieran does a lightning attack. A thunderbolt cracks down right on Matt's spine and kills him. I still have that clip saved on my PS4. That's one of the best things I've ever done. I upswung him right into a thunderbolt, hit him right in the back, like right in the center of the back, right in the spinal cord. He died immediately. Another great one I got is oh god, I forget which friend it was, but it was another Sapphire the Emperor death. We had a lot of those. But it was it was one dude. I think it might have been my friend Nathan, but he was not gonna make it to the rock for Sapphire, and it was the rock that I was sitting behind. He was sprinting to the rock, sprinting to the rock, sprinting to the rock. Like last second, he's running up for dear life. Sapphire goes off, and his dead carcass goes hurtling over the top of the rock that I was standing on. Those are all the best ones. It's when I watch my friends die. Those are the best ones. Strong Stone Black Pearl 315. Really think the Frontier / online / come soon Explore videos are really going to get you a crap ton of attention. I got recommended your MHFZ monsters vid, and halfway through I decided I needed to play the game, figured out how to play it, and put on the next video as to get started. This year your channel is going to explode, and I know it. Oh, thank you for that. That's really nice. Yeah, not so much a question, but I'll address it. Yeah, so the Monsters Beyond the Mainline series is definitely the kickstart thing, right? And that's going to be a little bit finite just because of there's only so much to cover. But I think those videos are still, one, they're going to get a name out there, and two, like long-form combat or long-form content tends to have some pretty nice long-term retention. People like to go back to that kind of stuff. You know, I go back and put on like long-form stuff that I listen to in the background if I like them well enough. So I think those videos are going to stick around. Yeah, That's definitely going to be what's attributed to my name for a little bit. And as I go and as I make some other series that have a little bit more just stuff to cover, I think that'll also kind of address it. But I think the Frontier and the online and the Explorer video is going to kind of be a big part of the brand for kind of everything going forward, because I kind of just came out the gate swinging with that. Steve the Vlogger, you post high quality stuff. How could I resist? That's probably in Oh yeah, how could I resist subscribing? You know, you could resist pretty easily, right? No one's gonna obligate you to press the button, but yeah, I'm glad that you did. But you could have if you wanted to. You could have resisted if you wanted to. All right, Damien Ford, 7483. Is there any other games you're considering making content for? When's the next tier list video? Love your videos. Looking forward to seeing you grow more and more. Thank you. Other games I'm considering making content for. Yes, it's probably not going to be on this channel specifically. So I have a channel, Volcanic Overflow, which I haven't dedicated a ton of time to yet. A little bit of hardware issues with like recording and whatnot, a little bit of gameplay, a little bit of time management, you know, a whole bunch of stuff. It's something I really want to work on second year, is really kind of get like some flow and going. And when I can afford to hire my buddy as an editor, I think the second channel is really going to start going. But yeah, so for algorithm reasons, this is a Monster Hunter channel. The original intention was for it to be kind of a grab bag type of channel, and I was going to see if my personality could carry it. Maybe it could have, but Monster Hunter took off so well. I built up a community around that, so that's where that's going to be. So I have a second channel for other stuff, because YouTube kind of likes to restrict stuff a little bit. But, you know, there's no limits on how many channels you can make and how many channels you can monetize. So being able to just making another little shelf to put stuff on lets me branch out and make other stuff. Other games specifically, it just depends on what rolls around, what I'm interested in. I don't know if I'm going to be super duper interested in like single player let's play stuff. You know, maybe I took a couple of pot shots at it and I liked it fine. The only problem with that is like if I have footage stuttering but I'm still talking, like how do I edit it around that, right? Because like sometimes with just how powerful my hardware is, there can be a little bit of stuttering. I don't think I'm gonna go into like as big in depth with anything else as I am with Monster Hunter, just because there's only so many hours in the day. That's just, you know, that's just how life works. I have to sleep sometimes. Monster Hunter is gonna be like the big focus. That's where like all the big stuff is gonna go. Other stuff that I really want to talk about, they'll get playthroughs, they might get their due, not to the same level that Monster Hunter has, just because of time resources, and just because this is going to be main source of income, and then I'll build other stuff around it to kind of just build a little bit more passive income. But more games, yeah, for sure. When's the next tier list video? All right, so we do two kinds of tier lists on this. One is just me talking about the monsters because I know them really well. The other one's the stuff with Austin. You know, Austin's a busy guy. He's got a lot on his plate, so I'll ask him. I'll ask when he's got days off, and we'll see if we can figure it out. I do want to do the 5th gen one with him as soon as feasibly possible, because there's some other stuff I want to do. As for the one for myself, I'm probably going to start to record the tier list video for the 1st gen monsters. I might record that tomorrow, honestly, just to get another long-form unscripted video out there. Let me get a little bit of a buffer going as I start to really kind of set my scripted and edited video schedule for the first chunk of 2024 going. So that's kind of the plan, is I might get another tier list out, but a just me one pretty soon. And I'll get the 3rd one with Austin out as fast as I can. Alright, Dr. Fart, WI3UR. After the big spin-off videos are completed, what other series do you have in mind doing? I have a lot of other series that I have in mind that I started. So, there was a lot of just kind of tossing ideas at the wall in 2023, and a lot of them stuck pretty well. So there was the Sword and Shield description ones. That was like the comedy joke video. People typically really like that one. There was the one where I talked about the lance, just like talked about how much I like the weapon. People really liked that one. There was the Let's Make Lao Shenlong fun. People really liked that concept. And then there's the monster highlights. People really like those ones. I love making those. That's kind of like what I started with. And I want to do a bunch more of those because I only managed to get 4 of those out last year. And then I'm probably going to do more like big covers of like the individual games like I did with the Rise video, though that's probably going to be like a once per year type of ordeal. So I've already started a whole bunch of other stuff. That's the cool thing about Monster Hunter, is it's so deep. Like there's just so much stuff I can do that I have a lot of ideas, and having a lot of different ideas is gonna really kind of help against burnout. At the same time, I have like 4 or 5 different series ideas that people will be looking forward to and looking for like entries in those titles. So that's a big advantage of those. So answer to that question is, look at what I made in 2023. I'm going to try and make a whole bunch more of a lot of those. All right, Benjamin Herrera 539. I have 2 questions. First, what monster do you want to see return in Monster Hunter Wilds? And second, do you have any plans for 2024 in terms of what type of videos you want to do, whether it be for Monster Hunter or anything else that you are interested in? What monster do I want to see in Monster Hunter Wilds? You said singular, so let's constrain it to singular, and that's difficult. If I had to pick one, right? If it only had to be one. If they can get underwater combat good, and they're bringing underwater combat back, it's laggy. You know, top of the list. I want to see him back. I want to see him in the ocean. If that's not happening, and fine if it's not, weirdly enough, the gut instinct is Monoblos. I think it's time for him to come back. I want to see him given kind of the Lunastra treatment, really kind of differentiated from Diablos. I don't want Diablos kicked out. You know, I love Diablos. I love Bloodbath. Diablos is a really good monster, but I want Monoblos back. I want it differentiated. Yeah, kind of. That's kind of what the gut says. And plans for 2024. So I just talked about that a little bit. You know, going to my catalog of 2023. I want to take what I already started, what people connected with, and really kind of just work on those. Who knows? You know, it's 12 months between now and 2025. I might conceptualize another series. You know, maybe I'll add another thing onto my plate. Probably going to happen. My brain tends to wander. And then, you know, stuff for other things that I'm interested in. You know, when and if I am, that's going to go second channel. You know, game sessions with friends and whatnot. There's Monster Hunter content coming to Exoprimal. I might record that and put that on the second channel. I had a lot of fun doing that review of Godzilla -1. I might do some of the other movies because I own like all of them. I might put that on the second channel. I might do like legitimately whatever. That second channel is like, this is kind of fun and it's not Monster Hunter. I'll do that. I do need to like formulate my actual schedule though. I do need to kind of set up like what I'm gonna do and in what order. All right, Michael Chestnut 865. What feature from a previous Monster Hunter game would you like to see return for Wilds? The more outlandish, the better. The more outlandish, the better. All right, Muso monsters then. No, I don't want those anywhere near regular Monster Hunter. If I had to pick one thing, and it would need to be retooled slightly, but I would love, especially because now it seems like we're going even more into like the ecological nature of Monster Hunter. I want to see the seasons from DOS come back in a slightly altered form, right? Because the way the seasons worked in DOS is you had like the hot season, the cold season, like the breeding season and whatnot. It's kind of like a cool concept. It's like certain maps were available or unavailable during different seasons. Like if it was the hot season, you couldn't go to the desert because you were gonna boil to death. If it was the cold season, you couldn't go into the mountains because it was gonna freeze. Conceptually on paper kind of neat. In practice, doing it that way is a little annoying because you want to get like a specific target, but you can't because it's the cold season. I think the way definitely the way they could do it is do a kind of system where, you know, maybe you'll have some slight differentiation in like map terrain, like winter season, maybe there'll be some snow on like a forest map or whatnot. But, you know, if it's the hot season, maybe like certain rare subspecies will appear on certain maps and they won't in other parts of the year. You know, maybe monsters have like certain migration patterns. So if it's like springtime, you'll have Rathalos and Rathian together in a forest zone. And then when it hits winter, Rathalos will go to the volcano, Rathian will go to the desert. Something like that. Something that we're not like locking out whole entire maps, but maybe you'll have like rare monsters appearing situationally in certain things, and you have your more common monsters kind of like moving and congregating to other areas. I think that'd be sick. Sun Browen 1776. Other than Monster Hunter, what are some of your favorite games? By the way, congrats, man. Your channel is amazing. I love its content so much. Thank you very much. Yeah, so talking about Souls is a big one. Souls is, my buddy got me into Souls. Fantastic. You know, Metroid's the big Nintendo one, though I do got a taste for like Mario and Zelda and that kind of stuff. It's not really a series anymore, but I've been getting back into this like super recently because I got a PS2 emulator for my laptop. But if anyone played those old like Pipeworks Godzilla games from the 2000s, that was a series that I loved as a kid. I just got Save the Earth on my laptop and I've been playing the crap out of that. That's a series I loved as a kid, and it's still good. It still holds up. Yeah, the God of War's been a big one. I played a lot of like the Sony movie games. Like FF16 was pretty good. Spider-Man PS4 was really good. I haven't played Spider-Man 2 yet. I do dabble in fighting games a little bit. I'm not great at them. I liked Mortal Kombat for a good long while, though Mortal Kombat 1 kind of disappointed me a little bit. A buddy of mine got me into Guilty Gear. I played that a little bit. Haven't picked that one up in a little while. Kind of a little all over the place. I like a lot of stuff. Dragona 1. Do you think Monster Hunter will ever bring underwater combat back? If they can make it good. If they can make it good, they'll bring it back. The reason it hasn't been back is because it wasn't good in try. And they knew it wasn't good in try. As much as I didn't hate it, but you know, I was a stupid 10-year-old playing with a Wiimote and nunchuck. You know, as much as I didn't hate it, wasn't great. They won't bring it back until it's great. I have to imagine that they got like 3-4 guys who've been in a lab, and it's like, this underwater side project, like work on this kind of in the background. I think we know for a fact by this point that they were looking at putting it in World, and it just didn't work. I have to imagine that they've been working at it, that they've been kind of toying around with it, like, especially recently, because people have been yelling for Laggy to come back. I would put money down on them really trying. It's not going to come back until it's good, and if they can never get it good, then no. That's kind of the answer to the question. All right, Joe the Zombie. Question, would you rather fight one gargwa-sized bnahabara or 100 bnahabara-sized gargwas IRL? Okay, so that's interesting. So bnahabara are already kind of big, right? So if I had 100 bnahabara-sized gargwas, that's kind of just 100 like regular ducks, right? So do I want to fight 100 regular ducks? I don't know about that. That's tricky. Although gargwas, I don't think they really have attacks, but you know, I'd assume they could attack you in real life. They'd probably kick you, bite you, whatever. So would I instead prefer to fight one gargwa-sized bnahabara? So the question of that is like, who gets who first, right? Because you know, bugs are kind of fragile. You know, if I can get my hands on the wings, that thing's dead, right? I just rip the wings off of that thing, make it fall to the ground, and then step on it until it's dead, right? But, you know, bugs they're quick, they're twitchy, they got the fast reaction time. That stinger sticks me, like, I'm dead. And then it's gonna eat me alive while I can't feel anything. And that sounds horrible. Like, so, do I either exhaust myself trying to, like, kick a whole bunch of ducks to death, or do I go into a first blood wins duel with a giant bug? I don't know if I'm that fast, right? IRL means do I get a weapon or something? Like, do I get like to pick something? Like, I'm looking at a guitar right now. Do I bat the bug over the head with a guitar? Maybe that'd be a little bit easier, because I feel like gargwas aren't really aggressive. I feel like if I just start like killing a couple of them, they're just gonna run away, right? But yeah, no, one false move against a regular bnahabara, I'm dead. Like, those are big bugs that paralyze you. I feel like one I'm gonna get exhausted and worn out, and then one of the ducks is gonna get a lucky shot, and the other one is like first to go wins, and then dying to one of those bugs is gonna be horrible. Horrible. You get paralyzed, and you get like bug eaten alive. Bugs are horrible monsters. They're terrible, terrible creatures. They're horrific to one another. You ever watch, stumble upon a YouTube video at 4 o'clock in the morning of like bugs eating things? They're horrible. I don't want to deal with that. Maybe the ducks. Then I gotta kill 100 ducks. That's gonna weigh on me for the rest of my life. I don't know. I dodge one thing from the stinger off the bnahabara, and then like I get behind it and I like start ripping the wings off of that thing, because those wings got to be held together with like, I don't know, like a staple. That's gotta be like ripping paper. Yeah, no, that's gonna hurt the bug really bad, and then I just gotta. Oh god, it's just holding a giant bug. Though I'm not that scared of bugs, but giant bugs, that's a little bit different. I don't want to kill the ducks, but maybe the ducks. King Cosmos, GJ4PY. What are your hopes for Monster Hunter Wilds? I'm not trying to, like, sell myself a game that I don't know exists, right? So, my big definitive hopes, number one, it's a good game. Number two, they cut the crap with the cosmetic microtransactions, right? I don't know if... I hope they're going to do that. They got yelled at pretty loud in Rise for that. If they try to pull that crap in Wilds again, I hope everybody yells at them again, because that was dumb. So those are like my hopes. Good, biggest one is that it's good. And it's gonna be good. That's barely even a hope. The rest is kind of like speculation and like dreaming stuff up and like theory crafting and whatnot. And again, you know, like that's fun. Like I've listened to a whole bunch of speculation from a whole bunch of the other guys, you know, like Rurikon and Rage Gaming and whatnot. A lot of them have like a lot of really cool ideas, but you know, I don't want to sell myself a game that doesn't exist. Is there anything like specific to Wilds though, just to kind of like entertain the thought? You know, I'm hoping for Underwater to come back, and I hope that it's good. If it is super duper open, I hope it's nice and just kind of like teeming with stuff to just kind of look at and explore. I kind of like the ability, even if it's not the densest open world ever made in gaming. I don't think Monster Hunter needs to. Again, I don't want to promise myself that it's an open world game, because who says? You know, we have one trailer. Very indicative of like a Breath of the Wilds type of thing, but we only have the one trailer, right? So one thing I think would be really cool, because people were talking about, you know, looking at like the back of the bird thing and looking at some of the supplies and like a portable camp and whatnot. And if that's true, right? If that's true, one thing I'd really love to be able to do is to just kind of go off into the world and then just kind of be out of the hub for 4 hours, 5 hours, limited resources, you know, sleeping on a bedroll makeshift camp, and just kind of just watching for what happens, right? Just watching the gameplay, just kind of watching the world be without me even interfering in it. That's if this is some big Mondo open world game, I don't need it to have a billion subquests and like a whole bunch of collectibles scattered all over the map. I kind of just like want to just stand out there and just kind of experience it and just kind of like sink into it. I'd say weird hope, right? But that's kind of something I want to be able to do. It is, if it's as open as it's looking, just kind of let me just sink into it and just waste 6 hours of my life just looking at animals. I'd like to have that experience. I think that would be awesome. All right. Eric, or Erich, I'm going to assume Eric with the CH, Davis, 2897. Do you have a favorite video so far, and why would that be? Picking a favorite's tough. There's a lot of stuff to attribute things to, right? Like the Rathalos highlights was a video that kind of put me on the map in the first place. You know, if you go into the channel, you don't even scroll that far back, because there's only 120 videos on the channel, but you'll see like some of the early Star Wars stuff that I was doing. That was fun. But you know, it didn't really go anywhere. And if that's where I was right now, I would probably be kind of struggling to hit that 1,000 right now. So that Rathalos video just kind of was like the start of everything. The first Frontier video really kind of put me in the map. I gained 1,000 subs in a month. That was like the video that said, all right, you're doing YouTube. This isn't just a hobby anymore. And then, you know, Frontier Part 2, the G through Z video, that was an absolute labor to get through. The research and the material gathering and the changing, that video changed my whole entire editing process. That was hours and hours and hours of work, reading through Bandlaggy's Twitter feed, watching a lot of Rage Gaming's gameplay video, watching a lot of gameplay from other channels that didn't have the commentary, reading through the wiki pages, triple checking to make sure I had every variation in there. And then, so a bit of a background story to that is, so I worked on that and I worked on that and I worked on that, and it was going along all right. But the due date that I set for myself with Frontier 2 kind of came right in between two vacations. One was a camping getaway. The other was a week at the coast with some family. I wasn't gonna work, especially the camping one. I didn't have internet. I went on that camping thing, and when I went on that camping trip, I had about a half hour of the video done. If you remember, that video was 4.5 hours long, or it was before I had to make some copyright cuts. I get back from that camping trip, and then I was house sitting for a little bit. So I was just alone, like nothing to do but watch a house. So I worked like a legitimate, like I got up at 9, I was at the desk by 10, and then I just worked and cranked out. I in between exports, I took a lunch break. In between the next export, I took a walk, and then I just worked from like 10 to however long it took. Every single day in a row for that whole entire house sitting trip. And I changed up my editing schedule and everything. So it might, and then it just came out so good. You know, some of the like dramatizations I did for Shantian and Disu and the Fatalises and Guan, that was such an important video, because I decided to handle that absolute Leviathan and to handle it in the correct way, right? You know, no divvy ups, no cuts. It would have been so easy for me to cut that video in half and put them out separately, but I wanted to do the two. Maybe it would have been better if I did it the other way, but I decided that I wanted to do the two. That was the right way for me, right? And I got out a 4.5 hour, I made a 4.5 hour video with genuinely a good amount of effort and research and editing put into it. In order to do that, I had to change how I was making my videos, how I was editing my videos, how I went about my process. So that might be my favorite. But even then, like, I just got better after that. Like, the Rise video, I think, was a little bit better than that. And there's even, like, smaller videos. Like, the trailers I made for Frontier 2, for Rise, and for Online, I love those trailers that I make for those videos. I go back and watch those all the time. I love those things. That's a difficult question to ask. It might be Frontier 2 just because of how important that video was, and the memories I had of making it, and the crunch that I went through for making it, and the sweat that went into making it. You know, and I got a copyright claim off of it, and just like learned how to deal with that. And like learned just kind of coming up into YouTube and learning how to deal with that. So it might be Frontier G through Z. Overlord Chem 3705. One question specifically related to Monster Hunter. Aside from the Frontier Explorer weapons that haven't been in a mainline game, what kind of weapon would you want to see added? A second question, entirely unrelated to Monster Hunter, what kinds of music and bands are you into? Congrats on 5K subs. Here's to hopefully many more. Alright, so I talked about this a little bit, but yeah, no, if I had to pick, it'd be a conventional, like, actual weapon, right? I think I'd prefer that a little bit over, like, a techie sci-fi weapon, even though the techie sci-fi weapons are cool, and I feel like that's kind of probably where they would want to lean, because I want to, like, experiment with stuff. I'd be fine with that. Kind of just like the kid in me says flail, because I've always liked them. You know, ever since I saw like the Witch King in Return of the King, like that's the coolest weapon ever made. You remember that game For Honor that Ubisoft came out with? What was it? The Conqueror was the character with the flail. I played that dude a lot. And then alternatively, like I said, what was his name? Lawbringer? That was the dude with the giant halberd poleaxe. I take like a pole arm, something that's got kind of like lance and insect glaive reach with like a middle ground with their attack speed and maneuverability and whatnot. A halberd like poleaxe type of thing. That'd be kind of sick. And then what kind of music and bands do I listen to? I actually appreciate a non-Monster Hunter question. Not that the Monster ones aren't fun. It's just kind of fun to answer some other stuff. So what kind of music and bands do I listen to? So, thing about me, I am a self-described music adrenaline junkie. You give me loud and intense and operatic, and I will have a ball. So I grew up listening to a lot of just hard rock and roll music, a lot of classic stuff. You know, that's what my dad loves. And it's good stuff. I still listen to that stuff sometimes. Really cool stuff. I grew up a little bit, went into like middle school, high school. I got into heavy metal a lot. Still listen to heavy metal a lot. A lot of the classic stuff. Like Iron Maiden's a big favorite of mine. Judas Priest is great. Metallica was like my number one for a good long while. Still love Metallica. Megadeth is another great one. Motorhead's a great one. And then like some like slightly more modern stuff. I don't listen to like a ton of modern stuff, but I some of the power metal that's being made now is really cool. Like Sabaton's a big one. Powerwolf makes some really good music. Kind of on the, I wouldn't even say the jokier side, but if you've ever watched the show Metalocalypse before, the band Death Clock off of that show, I listened to their music last night. Their stuff's wicked good. And I don't even like the kind of more like growly vocal type of metal. Just some way that Brendan Small writes songs makes me just love that stuff. Death Clock's really good. I listen to this stuff a lot. And then, you know, so I still listen to heavy metal, still listen to rock, but then the progression of chasing intensity and chasing loud and chasing dramatic and chasing that kind of high, that transitioned into more like classical operatic music. So I listen to a lot of soundtrack right now. Some movie stuff, a ton of game stuff. So I listen to the Monster Hunter soundtrack a ton of my free time. I listen to the Souls soundtrack a lot in my free time. A little bit off topic, more like on the atmospheric end, but I listen to like Metroid music a lot in my free time. And then like the perfect music for me was when Final Fantasy 16 soundtrack came out. Dude, those boss themes are so damn good. They're so damn good. That stuff's perfect. I'm gonna lose my hearing before I'm 60. I'm gonna be on hearing aids when I'm a little older in life because I listen to music so damn loud. It's not good. It's probably not good for me. But dude, it's so worth it. I'll lose my hearing. I'll lose my hearing for that kind of stuff. Probably shouldn't. Not worth it, but it is. Totally is. Flubadon. I think I remember the questions I put. Yeah, because stuff got deleted. But number one, out of all the videos you've made, which is your favorite and why? What's the monster you want to make a highlight for the most? What's your favorite armor skill in the series? So yeah, talked about favorite video. Frontier 2 is probably the most important for the reasons listed. Really good, but really like challenging memories making that one. It was an ordeal and a struggle in like the best way possible. Like finishing that video was a damn triumph, and it taught me a lot about like not even necessarily editing. Like I didn't really learn a lot of new stuff off of it. The only like new technique I picked up off of it was probably like just like green screen stuff, which was easy to implement. But about like the creation of a process really was what I learned the most off of Frontier 2. I'll go back and I watched that Rise video a lot that I made because some of those, especially some of the story chunks. I love some of those story chunks I did. Like the way I set up some of the music stuff and then like the coverage of the Sunbreak story. Like I like how I edited that. I like how I pieced that together. I like how I used music. And that was cobbled together too. Like I did the Rise story and the Sunbreak story were done in the same night because I had a self-appointed deadline I had to meet. And the fact that the Sunbreak story came out as good as it did, because I was working on that until like 5 in the morning. And then, yeah, like I said, like the easiest, most digestible stuff for me to like go back and just watch for the fun of it is the trailers that I make. The one for Rise was awesome. The one for Frontier, I'll just like set that playlist on loop and I'll just watch them over and over again because they're like 2 to 3 minutes long, super duper digestible, and it's just images and video with music. Go back and watch those again for me. Just do me a little favor. Watch those again. What's the monster you want to make a highlight video for the most? What do I want to make a highlight video for the most? That's a good fucking question. Shoot. It might be Tigrex. It might be Tigrex. I have some ideas for the music video portion for him, but I really just want to like research him because he's like so kind of effectively simple. And he's also got a buttload of variations to talk about and so much gear. Very, very storied, very historic monster. I kind of want to see if he comes back in Wild, because I want to see if they kind of bump him up a little bit, because he's kind of, like, combat-wise, he's been on, like, a little bit of a downturn. Like, I want to see if they make him really, really cool. Because of the memes of the channel with, like, the tier list I've been doing with Austin, I really want to do highlights on the crabs. Like, with... Like, I really want to dig into, like, the crabs and the carapaceans being a whole meme on this channel because of Austin. And two, like, just to see what they're about. I want to learn more about them, actually. And they're very, like, charismatic, very high personality monsters. Those would be a lot of fun to do. Is there any, like, other, like, really obscure ones? Barioth would probably be kind of fun, because Barioth's had, like, a really, really good career. He's been in a lot of games, and he's been, unlike some of the other pseudo-wyverns, he's kind of been on, like, an upturn in terms of difficulty. Barioth would probably be a lot of fun to do research on. And then, maybe do one that's, like, a little less storied, and maybe, have the video just kind of be a little bit shorter, just for the sake of sanity. Because what I want to do with the highlights is I want to have the monsters have a little bit of a history to them. So, like, a little bit of development in armor and design and movesets and whatnot, because it's, like, a big chunk of what I want to talk about. It's just kind of, like, talk about everything great about the monster as a whole. And if they're just in, like, one entry, that's a little harder to do, because I feel like there's more to give. That's why I don't want to jump into, like, Nergigante just yet, because he's only been in one game. Barioth and Deviljho would also probably be a lot of fun. There's a lot of really good third-generation entries, because 5th generation Monster Hunter was very, very fond of 3rd gen. What's your favorite armor skill in this series? Favorite armor skill? What do I like to play around with the most? You know what? Odd choice. It might be Evade Window. Evade Window is really fun, especially in Rise, because you could build whole builds around evasion with the amount of stuff that you could get off of that. You can get some really good stuff off of just perfect evading things. Rolling through attacks, rolling through roars, rolling through, like, quakes and tremors and whatnot. You feel, every time you perfect roll through something, even though you have a crap load of invincibility frames with Evade Window, feels awesome every time you do it. You get way more of an advantage going into something than you do when you're trying to, like, roll away from an attack or whatnot. Weird pick, but it might be Evade Window. Very useful skill. Very high utility, right? Good for damage opportunities, good for defensive opportunities. It's good for, it's just a good, like, comfort skill. It's more invincibility frames, like that in and of itself is just nice. But then you can build off of it. You get creative off of it. Yeah, that's kind of what the gut came up with. I'd say another one, kind of like an honorable mention, is probably maybe, like, Master's Touch, because it's like Teostra. It's like Teostra's, like, main skill right now. In 5th generation is Master's Touch, so that's a big thing for me. It's just, like, keep my attack up while I'm doing crits. Just build up a Master's Touch with a nice crit set, and no sharpening, consistently high damage. It blends super duper well with the attack and crit skills that you're putting on a lot of your weapons. That's just a really nice skill to have on there. All right, so now, El Coito. What is a monster you currently don't like that much, but see a lot of potential in? Also, congrats on 5K. You'll hit that 20K in no time. Thank you for the well-produced and interesting videos. You're very welcome. Thank you for the nice... that's my answer. That's the monster I don't like. Fuck. The tricky part is coming up with a monster that I don't like all that much. Because it's very easy for me to like a lot of the monsters. They're generally well-designed, and, like, I counter-pick and I counter-build a lot. A monster that I don't particularly like, but I see a lot of potential in. Mine kind of wanders to Gypsaros, because Gypsaros I don't love. Gypsaros, I feel like, has a lot of stuff. Like, Gypsaros does a lot of stuff for how early game he is and how early he was made. He does a lot of stuff. So I don't know if it's like I necessarily see potential in him. I think he just kind of needs to be reworked a little bit. It might be Plesioth, honestly. Plesioth's kind of a monster that I'm very receptive to liking. I think Plesioth generally, like, looks pretty damn good. If they put him back in the water, that would serve him pretty well. It's really big, really slippery. I don't know. I feel there's definitely like more they could do with him. Like they don't do too much with his sleep. They don't do too much with his water. He's just kind of like this giant thing that like he's just a massive moving hitbox currently in all his forms. And I don't know, with like a giant fish, I feel like you could do a little bit more. I feel like you could do more with his water attacks. I feel like you could do a little bit more with like the sleep scales coming off of him. You put him underwater and like chase after him, like you could do in Tri. And I heard off a buddy that he's actually not too bad underwater in Tri Ultimate. But do that and do a little bit more with him. Play around with that a little bit. See if you can make that really fun. It might be Plesioth. I feel like Plesioth is like kind of geared for a redemption arc. They really just need to like fix him up and retool him, have him function properly, and do a little bit more. And honestly, I think you have something kind of decent. Marco Sadu, I apologize. 3814. What discarded monster concept would you bring into Wilds? Ryozo said in this interview they will bring back discarded concepts. It seems that concepts that were not used in Gos Harag were used in the bear monsters that appear in the Wilds trailer. So admittedly, I don't know a super duper ton about like discarded concepts. I've seen a little bit of stuff in like some videos that Oceanus did about like monsters that are only found in like art books and whatnot. So I think my mind jumps to stuff like that. Some stuff that's found its way into art books but never into the games. Like I think they had like a concept art for Deviljho that they didn't make Deviljho, so they just took that concept art and they made it a different like animal that we just haven't fought in game. Like that'd be really cool. I would from memory that art looks really good. If they ever wanted to bring in like some of the prehistoric monsters and whatnot, that kind of established to be like ancient animals and whatnot that only exist in art books, that'd be really cool. Like if there was anything out of any of the old art books that I could get, I would love to see what Wyvern Rex is like, because conceptually that thing is so like the ancestor king of wyverns. And apparently it was massive. I don't know how massive, but apparently it was pretty damn big. You picture like a giant black-scaled Tigrex walking around in Wilds. That'd be sick. So yeah, there's definitely pictures of concept art that I've seen in some of those art books that I think would be really cool. And I think it's kind of cool that they turn them into just like relatives of other monsters. So I think that'd be kind of my best answer. So Avocado 1714, first off, congrats on 5K. Thank you very much. Why did you decide to get into content creation in the first place? And what's your favorite part of being a content creator? Dude, I was kind of born to do YouTube. That's a stupid sentence, but it's kind of true. So YouTube kind of came around when I was like the perfect age for it. So it came out in like 2004, 2005. So I'd have been like 6, 7, 8, 9, like perfect age for like this weird website where people were uploading just like the wackiest stuff. So I've been around like forever. I've been a lurker on YouTube forever. And you know, I watched the Monster Hunter scene for a good long while. Like I've watched like a lot of Gaijin's old videos and a lot of Eric's old videos and a lot of Omega Evolution's old videos. And then when World came out, I watched like Rage Gaming when he was making stuff, and Rurikon when he was making stuff, and Dark Hero when he was making stuff. So Hellkite and whatnot. So I followed like the Monster Hunter community for a long time. Love the Monster Hunter community, but you know, I partly kind of wanted to add to it. And then even beyond like the Monster Hunter stuff, YouTube just kind of fascinates me. I watch a good amount of stuff in like a good amount of places. I'm pretty big into like watching like commentary channels and whatnot, you know, even if you think they're kind of trashy. I don't. I think, at least not some of them. I think some of those guys actually do a good amount of work and are genuinely do some good stuff. But, you know, whatever your opinions of them are. But, you know, in watching, like, the commentary community and their stuff, you get, like, this, it's kind of like this, like, Nexus hub where you get to learn about, like, all these different branches and, like, who's mad at who and who's threatening to kill who and, who's committing charity fraud. But like the politics and the inner workings and the wars that go on in this place, it's fascinating. It's legitimately fascinating. You know, the good and the bad of it, because you know, you listen to like the dramatized stuff, you think that everybody wants to kill each other. That's not necessarily the case. YouTube's a kind of cool place. I've always been very infatuated with it, and I've kept up with a lot of like the ongoings in a whole bunch of different hemispheres, like movie review stuff, the commentary stuff, some drama stuff, you know, anime stuff, Monster Hunter stuff, Souls stuff, all over the place. I have my eyes like all over the place. I watch a ton of stuff. I barely watch like TV anymore. YouTube's my TV. YouTube is my television. So being a part of it was kind of like a natural thing, right? And I thought about doing YouTube for a good long while. There was always that analysis paralysis, which has been a thorn in my side for a long time. Of just not like, you know, you hear it. You're a smart kid, blah 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 blah. You know, I've had ideas, I've had creativity, like, since I was a kid. I wrote, like, really cringy, stupid comics when I was a kid. But for a long time, you know, doesn't go anywhere, start and stop, doesn't go anywhere, start, stop. December of 2022 was really kind of when this whole started. You know, I was working a regular job. I didn't hate it or anything. It was a good job, right? Liked who I was working with, liked who I was working for. Work was tough, but work was good. Wasn't a bad job at all. But there was, it just, I don't know, right? It didn't feel right. It felt like there was more to me, but there was no ambition to me. You know, like staying in that job, it was good work, but it wasn't me. You know, not everybody can make it in creativity and creative stuff. You know, maybe this will fail and I'll have to, pick something else to do. And you know what? If I have to do that, I have to do that. Creativity's been a bone in my body for a good long time. And as we've seen with 5K subs in one single year, maybe I got something to this, right? I wasn't really doing much, right? I did work, I did D&D with friends, I hang out with friends, and I was just spinning the wheels. And spinning the wheels and spinning the wheels and spinning the wheels in the mud, right? I wasn't going anywhere. There was some money in my pocket, but I wasn't going anywhere. I was a layabout, especially when the winter season came around and I stopped doing that job. I just wasn't doing anything. And like age was catching up, college payments were catching up, being an adult was catching up. And I absolutely could have just gone and just done another job. But I wanted to really kind of take a crack and see if I could make money doing what I knew I was good at. And, you know, and lo and behold, we're a year later, and apparently I can. So that's kind of why I got into it, is I needed to do something. I pissed away a lot of my early 20s. I pissed away a lot of my early 20s, not doing nothing, not having any ambition. I wasn't miserable, I wasn't depressed or anything. So December rolled around in 2022. Things were kind of catching up, and I just decided, you know, you want to do YouTube, you're not doing anything, just do it. Just like I got the idea to do like the rewatch of the Clone Wars off of just like other like rewatches I'd seen on YouTube. Like, just start, like that's easy. So I got my buddy Cody, and we watched a bunch of episodes. Didn't stick because it didn't do a ton of views, and when I branched out and started doing Monster Hunter, that blew up. But that was the stuff you start with. The stuff you start with is never your best work. And I just kept going, and I kept going, and I treated it like a full-time job, and, you know, lo and behold, I'm making a couple $100 a month now. But this makes me, like, hungry, right? I'm hungry to learn how to get better. I want to learn better editing techniques. I want to get better editing software. I want to get better at editing. I want to get my process better. I want to make better stuff. I want to get my stuff longer. I want to edit my scripts better. I want to, like, get my voice performance better. So that's why I started, because I knew that I was good enough, and I knew I needed something that was going to make me hungry. My favorite part about making stuff, learning stuff. The fact that I can make money off of that's nice. Like, it's really nice. The potential ceiling that YouTube has, super cool. You know, that'd be awesome if I could live really nice off of this kind of stuff. That'd be sick, right? Dude, just making stuff. Press and export on something I'm proud of is awesome. It's awesome. Putting a video, every single time I hit upload on a YouTube video and it goes through and it's like gonna hit something, it's like, that's such a cool feeling. When I'm like, I want to do this a little bit better, so I'm gonna download Audacity, or I'm gonna look at what this set of filters does on my editing software, and I pull off something and I'm like doing something slightly better than I was. Moors 2094. Not a question, but I hope you can share some of your stories with Monster Hunter. I really liked when you talked about how you spend days hunting that Teostra. By the way, congratulations. Yeah, so I shared a couple of stories. Like I said, best stories are my friends dying. Those are the best ones. If you go back and watch like the Rise trailer that I made, one of the best things that ever happened is, you know, my friends are noob carving scumbags. They're awful. They're terrible. Especially Nathan. Nathan's horrible at it. He's a piece of garbage. Noob carves everything. But there's one clip in that Rise trailer that I put in where two of my friends are trying to like carve off a Teostra tail. They both get bowled over and knocked away. So I go running in, I try to get the tail myself. Nathan comes back in to try and get the tail. He gets run over again. Serves him right. Piece of crap. Kind of a more general thing, but like the amount of my friends out of high school that I've been able to get into Monster Hunter, and when Wilds comes out, I'm gonna gaslight even more of them into getting it with me. Especially if there's crossplay, I'm getting a whole fucking army of them on there. Getting new people into Monster Hunter, like indoctrinating them into the cults, that's always awesome. Like there was one guy. It was like. So this was in high school, and it was when the size comparison video for I think the 10th anniversary it came out. It was the one that came around like when 4 came out, and I brought my phone into school. And I brought it to my buddy, and I'm like, I'm going to indoctrinate you into a cult. I'm going to show you a series of sounds and colors and images, and I'm going to indoctrinate you into a cult. It was just a size comparison video. And my buddy was like, yeah, no, I'm interested. And now Monster Hunter is his second favorite franchise ever. And I just like another one. I sent the world trailer to a buddy who I've been like trying to like egg on to get into Monster Hunter forever. He's like, oh, this looks interesting. Dude's an Insect Glaive main. He's bugging me in Discord right now, trying to talk to me about playing Monster Hunter. He's bugging me right now. I got him in on it just by sending him the world trailer. And two of my oldest buddies, I got him to play Try with me. Back like Try's online gaming. I got 2 of them on there with me. Getting new people into it is so good, and then fucking them over and watching them die, and it's funny when it's not me. Logan Ender Sorcerer 1149. Question 1: what monster types do you want to see more of in Wilds, with the qualifier that they have less than 10 large monsters? Question 2, what's your favorite animal? Qualifier being that they have less than 10 large monsters. The short answer is all of the monster categories that have less than 10 monsters. We have a lot of them now that are pretty underdeveloped. And that's because, you know, 4th gen rolled around, and 4th gen introduced a lot of new stuff, and then 5th gen comes in with a brand new engine, and like all we have time to develop is wyverns. Wilds were kind of like at prime time right now, because they have a whole bunch of assets in RE Engine right now. They have all their wyverns in there, and now they're starting to get like the mammals and the carapaceans and whatnot. They got Temnocerans in RE Engine and stuff like that. So there's a lot more resources in RE right now, which is awesome, because potentially we could have a crap load of content in Wilds. Snakes, Neopterans, Temnocerans, amphibians, like all those guys. Give them some new stuff. If I had to pick one, right? If I had to pick one, maybe Neopteran, because I feel like there's a whole lot of stuff that you can do with bugs and insects. Bugs and insects are evolutionary. They do a lot of cool stuff. They do a lot of horrific stuff. They're horrible, awful demon monsters, and you can Monster Hunterize the crap out of a ton of them. There's so much potential in the insect part of the world. So yeah, I'd say that'd be my pick. What's my favorite animal? So actually, it is lions. And this was kind of enforcing why Teostra became my favorite, is because I loved lions ever since I was in like 1st grade. In 1st grade, we had a project to like do research on a nocturnal animal. I'm like, I want like a big predator animal, right? I learned that lions mostly sleep all day, so I ran it by my teacher, and she's like, yeah, you can do lions. So I did a whole project on lions, and I learned about lions. I'm like, lions are the coolest thing in the world. And then I had my Captain Ahab Moby Dick story with a giant fire lion dragon. I'm like, all right, you're my favorite thing ever now. So yeah, no. Ever since I've been like 7. It's been lions. Daniel Oren Oroganovic. I apologize for that. 9359. So what is your favorite monster concept that doesn't yet exist in Monster Hunter? Do you have plans to make a retrospective on Monster Hunter adjacent games like Dauntless Wild Hearts and Soul Sacrifice? What do you think would be a fun crossover idea for future Monster Hunter games? And just thought of this, do you plan to cover the other spin-offs with Unique Monsters, Story, Explore, and Orage? Okay, so a favorite monster concept that doesn't exist yet. Odd question to answer. Is there any, like, big kind of like core animals that aren't represented in Monster Hunter? It might go back to bugs, like I was just saying. It's like there's a whole bunch of stuff that you can draw on with bugs and insects and whatnot that you can port into Monster Hunter and hybridize in a whole bunch of monsters. I hope that's your question. What's your favorite monster concept that doesn't yet exist in Monster Hunter? I don't know. I think for how dense the insect population on Earth is, I feel like Monster Hunter's really only kind of just like scratched the surface for what it could dig up. Retrospective on MH adjacent games. Like I said a little bit earlier, this channel is Monster Hunter, the second channel is other stuff. Meaning that I don't really have the editing, the time to really super delve into stuff that isn't Monster Hunter. The other channel is going to be lighter editing. Yeah, maybe if the inspiration strikes me, I might play through Wild Hearts. I might talk about it a little bit. Dauntless Soul Sacrifice, something like that. To the extent of like the celebration and critique of Rise and Sunbreak, I don't think other games are gonna get that treatment just because there's not enough hours in the day. You know, if things roll around and the inspiration strikes me, they might get their due. Fun crossover ideas for Monster Hunter in the future. I think Souls is an easy one, right? Souls and Monster Hunter have a bit of overlap in terms of like their gameplay design. A little bit of overlap. It's not Dark Souls with dinosaurs. I'm not a games journalist. Don't worry about it. So that'd be kind of an easy one, right? Like the Elden Ring DLC comes out and like Rathalos is a hidden boss somewhere, or Fatalis is a hidden boss somewhere, and alternatively, like I don't know, like Fortisax is somewhere in Wilds. That'd be kind of sick. Or I don't know, like you do like Black Dragon Calamite and the DLC armors like the Artorias armor. People would lose their minds over that. That'd be kind of tight. I feel like Godzilla would be a really cool one. I don't know exactly what they would do. Like I don't know how you're gonna put like a 2-scale Godzilla fight in a Monster Hunter and have that function. Like that's probably way too much development time. I feel like what you could do is maybe do like a rare species of Deviljho with the dorsal plates on its back and like make it gigantic like the World Eater from Tri Event Quest. I think you could do that. That'd be awesome. And then do like some kind of special armor or whatnot. Because Toho has been a little bit more generous and a little bit more willing to share the King of the Monsters recently, which has been awesome to see. That there's just like more Godzilla's kind of like a golden age right now, and Monster Hunters and kind of just been in a perpetual golden age that's kind of just never really stopped. For the two of those to cross over, I feel like would kind of make just a ton of sense. Plan on covering other spin-offs like Stories, Explore, and Orage. So Explore, definitely. Explore's going to get a Monsters Beyond the mainline like Online and Frontier did. That's 100%. As for covering monsters like the ones in Stories, in Orage, and even in like art books and whatnot, the idea has been considered. I don't have a final say on anything like that. In terms of talking about Orage like a manga, yeah, maybe that could be a cool idea. Playing through the Stories games, again, fun idea. Stories looks kind of interesting. I'm gonna be honest. The rock paper scissors combat looking thing doesn't look super on Master Replay. Probably the answer to that's probably. Epic Panda Pats. Will you ever make videos with other content creators? Is that a goal for you this year? And if so, what creators do you want to try to I assume collaborate with? I love the small Monster Hunter creator side. Yeah, dude, I'd love to. Is it a goal for this year? I'd say so. The whole thing is that I've been a sub 5K channel, right? So, it's like I don't want to bother people that have 100K subs, right? And like beg to be on their shows and whatnot. So it's a matter of like asking, you know, like figuring out just how to be polite about it. Like, number one that jumps to the top of the list, you have like Rurikon's got a podcast. Rurikon and Gaijin have a podcast. Rurikon's got his own podcast, and then Ratatosker's got his own. And I like all those guys. I'd talk to those guys in a minute. If they asked me, I'd talk to them for like 3-4 hours. I like those guys a lot. So that like in like podcast format, which is really easy. That'd be something I'd love to do. And then in like a more traditional kind of like collaboration, that'd be also a lot more fun. For that, I would want to be mindful of like what the video is, who I'm talking to, like what would they add to the video, like what would their style add to it. Is it like, does it make sense to bring this guy on? And I've had a couple of ideas for stuff like that. Again, it's just a matter of like reaching out. So for me, like, asking people to collab with me, it'd be a matter of just picking the right video. If someone asked me to go on their thing, yeah, sure. There's really no one in this community that I don't like. I'll kind of talk to anybody. And that even goes beyond like Monster Hunter stuff. There's a lot of content creators I'm a fan of. And you know, like Monster Hunter is kind of like its own isolated thing, but like there's a whole crap load of people I'd love to talk to. I'd love to get to know. So we'll see. Is that a goal for this year? Yeah, no. I might toss some invites around if a project comes up that I think would be really fitting. And if I get invited on something, I'll let you know. Glav2948. What Frontier Online Explorer monster would you like to see the most in Wilds? That is tough to narrow down. And it's tough to narrow down because especially with Frontier, right? Frontier's got its own messy reputation. But what I learned from watching Frontier and like learning about Frontier is that the Frontier monsters are just Monster Hunter monsters. They're really not as crazy as we thought they were before we knew what the game was like. There's some like just for like the sheer like power factor of how cool they are and like some personal tastes rather. I like my big grandiose King God Elder Dragons. So you want to bring in Guanzorumu, like that's give me that, give me that. Shantian Disufiroa, Dure Mudira, yeah, like just off of pure like power factor, that'd be awesome. So monsters that like are just like kind of a little bit more under the radar but look really cool. Taiken Zamuza sounds like awesome. I'd love to see him bring in Taiken Zamuza. Also seems to be pretty generally beloved, so like I feel like and he's not like too crazy or anything. I feel like that's a really easy pick. And then from what limited information we have about Wilds, I've seen a lot of comments about some of the monsters that came out of the Highlands who had interactions with the dynamic weather in the Highlands, mainly being Kuaru Sapusu and Guren Zaburu, and they feel like they'd just be perfect because that like dynamic lightning and storms rolling in, that's already built into their kits, right? That'd be perfect. So off of like what we know about Wilds, like those two would be amazing. And then dude, there's so many good monsters in those games. You want to go into explore, you know, it looks very deserty. You want to get like Eo Garudia and Nef Garmat in there? Hell yeah. You want to get Morodo Munto in there? Hell yeah. No idea if we're ever going to see the online monsters and ever again, but like there's not a single one in that list that I would say no to. Even like Slice Margle, who I wasn't super impressed with. You want to put him in there? Yeah, I'm not going to whine about it. There's better options, but I'm sure. I definitely like to see some of the big end bosses, some of those ones with dynamic storm mechanics already baked in. Hell yeah. And then there's very few bad options. You want to get in like the whip wyverns, so you have like Berukirosu and Doragirosu. There's good monsters hand over fist. You almost kind of just can't go wrong. Connor Thompson, good name. Are you gonna do any more speculation on Wilds before we get more information in the summer? Probably not. No, I think the speculation's kind of been done, right? You know, I watched the trailer, I talked about what I saw for about a half an hour, and past that, I think the speculation's kind of been done. Like, I've watched videos that a whole bunch of other people have said, and I don't really have anything new to add, right? Am I going to speculate on it again? Not really, because at that point, I think I'm just going to be, like, wish listing. I'm definitely going to check out what they have to say in the summer, and we'll talk about that. And then we'll see what happens after that. Dr. Fart, WI3UR. Favorite looking armor? Mine is the male Elatrion armor. I can't make a layered set without using the helmet. Ooh, okay. A lot of good ones. Classic Rathalos is classic Rathalos, right? That stuff is really good. I rock that stuff as layered a lot. Running with like Anjanath a lot actually too. You know, it's a lot of the fire monsters, honestly. A lot of the mix sets I'm running in Rise, there's a lot of Teostra in there, there's a lot of Basil in there, there's a lot of Anjanath in there, and there's a lot of Rathalos in there. There's a lot of really good fire monster armor. I think like my favorite mix set is like one of the Basil heads with a Rathalos and Anjanath mix. Teo's an easy one, because like that, for my favorite monster has god tier looking armor. That's a super duper easy pick because that armor looks so good. I'm trying to think if there's anything interesting. You know, sometimes the mood strikes me to go like nice and simple. To go like, you know, like classic hunter armor, like nice, easy, like alloy, just kind of, there's kind of something just kind of like grungy and grounded feeling about it. Cause, you know, like some of the, like the really bulky, wacky Elder Dragon cool stuff is like kind of neat, you know, like the Scorned Magnum model with like the floating swords and whatnot. Sometimes just like basic ass iron armor is pretty cool, honestly. It just feels like, it feels cool to run around in when I'm not like glowing neon blue and I'm running around in the desert, you know? Very indecisive, but I do got a collection of favorites. Raditz 2737. I've got one simple question. When's the Frontier playthrough happening? And if it's going to happen, where might one find where might one find said content? Where might one find said content? Yeah. First of all, Raditz, you know, Mr. died 5 episodes into Dragon Ball Z. He asked 2 questions. It's not one simple question. He asked 2. Didn't even get into fighters, and you think you can talk to me like this? So, when's Frontier? When am I going to play Frontier? When my hardware is better is the easy question. Part of what I'm saving up for is an actual PC. I have a laptop. And she's a good laptop, but she's only like worth $300. So she does what she can do, but what she can do isn't everything that is required, you know? So it's a matter of hardware, because not only do I need something that's going to be able to run that wacky ass MMO, but it's also going to have to handle my recording software. My recording software can sometimes be a little bit jank. So that's the big thing. It's a hardware thing. And when I do get it, when it is up and running, we'll see what I do. It's either going to be like just gameplay uploaded to the second channel, or you know, maybe if the quality's good enough, maybe I'll stream it. I'll figure that out. And again, if it's streamed, maybe I'll do like a stream. I'll do like a stream highlights channel, something like that, like a stream, like a Volcanic streams channel. For like to post the VODs on, and if it's just regular gameplay stuff, that's probably going to be on Volcanic Overflow. All right, Tegu the Jester, 1954. What monster would you like to see in Wilds other than Tio and Luna? Taking my answers, huh? Day 15. You know what I speak of, Connor. All right, Tegu the Jester. First of all, buddy boy. Is that how you're gonna spell my name? That's how we're spelling my name? With the E? You think I'm an E, Connor? You really think so low of me? Huh? You come in here and you accuse me of being an E, Connor? You know, my parents gave me this name, Mr. Tegu the Jester. Alright? What are you saying about my parents? Do you think that they'd give me Connor with an E for a name? Whole thing with that Discord server, I'm kind of like sitting on it, right? Because like, it probably gonna be fine. It'd be fun to do. It'd be fun to have around, like be able to talk to some of you guys. I haven't toyed around with it too much super recently, just because it just kind of shuffled around in priorities and whatnot. But it's got some stuff in there. I want to flush it out a little bit more to try and just like make it a little bit more presentable. I'm still gonna do it, but there's, you know, you hear like the occasional horror story of a Discord server here and there, and like, yeah, it kind of puts you off it a little bit. But yeah, I'll get one up and running. I'm not gonna promise like dates though. And what monster do I want to see the most in Wilds? There's very little gatekeeping in that category, buddy. Almost anything. You can put almost anything. Even the monsters I typically don't like. Because almost any monster has room for improvement, right? You can fix almost any of them, just about any of them. The only one that is like get it out of here is King Shakalaka, because I'm not too big on like bosses being cultured humanoids with holding actual weapons. That's kind of weird. I don't really like that. What I like to see the most, I talked about this a little bit, but it's like if they got underwater right and they're bringing underwater back, it's laggy. Otherwise, the gut said Monoblos. It's been past time. Monoblos is like this like weird overlooked golden child. Like he's a big deal in like first gen Monster Hunter. And then, like, Diablos took all the fame, and Diablos has all the cool subspecies, right? I want Monoblos back in, man, and I want to see him doing some crazy crap. What's the equivalent of a bloodbath Monoblos, right? Hopekeeper Scott, $13.99. What's your favorite Monster Hunter theme song, and which version, if there's more than one? Make me pick my favorite child, why don't you? Oh God, what do I even do? I guess the easiest way to think about that would be to think about, you know, if I'm just like doom scrolling on for music, what do I just look up? What does my brain just like pull out of nowhere? Volstrax, maybe? Even that, I don't know if I super like that answer. Because there's Zenogre, and then there's Teostra, and then there's Astalos, and then there's Rajang, and then there's Fatalis, and then there's Dire Morales. And then there's Gaius Magorm, and then there's Malzeno, and like, yeah, no, I think just kind of like and then there's Tigrex, and then there's Mizu, and then there's Gameth, and there's Glavenus is another one that'll just kind of like pop on, and then there's Shigaru Magala that fucking oh God, I don't know if that question has an answer, dude. But yeah, no, the best way to try and think about it is like what songs just kind of like pop up the most when I'm listening to music. It might be Volstrax. And what's the favorite of the Volstrax is definitely the original version, right? The cool thing about the Rise version is it has the loop for like the main hook piece of it. Like the big like crescendo on it. So there's like a couple like hybridized versions of them that are really good. It might be Volstrax, because that Volstrax theme is just godly. And then there's Brachydios' theme that I listen to a lot. And like, you're asking me questions that don't have answers. But the best I can approximate at the moment might be Volstrax. Mr. Don't know if this was answered before, but what does the CR in your name stand for? So CR-Volcanic is an abbreviated form of a name I took for PlayStation. I was just looking for like a tag name, right? I just wanted like whatever. So I looked up a 2-word generator and just like hit it a couple times looking for something good, and Volcanic Crayon popped up. I'm like, wow, that kind of works. So I took it. As I took that for my PS4 username, and then just kind of swapped that around, like CR-Volcanic, which has like a decent flow to it, right? CR-Volcanic, like it's a little awkward, it's a little weird, but like it still kind of rolls off the tongue. I like it. Carter Lazarus, 813. Let's get some love for something a little less represented. A favorite monster that isn't a flagship or Elder Dragon. Hard mode, no final bosses either. Probably something 3rd gen, because that's where I started, and 3rd gen has a lot of good stuff. That might be a battle between Deviljho and Basil. Big boys, scare the crap out of anybody they come into contact with. Massive invaders, scare the bejesus out of people. Landmark, like iconic fights, the both of them. Deviljho got so cool in World of Iceborne. He's picking up monsters and he's throwing around. And the high-rank World Basil is so cool in like what he does. And he's just hasn't been the same since. So maybe Deviljho, because he hasn't had the he's not like waiting for the comeback that Basil is. Maybe it might be Deviljho. I'm getting asked questions that are very, very difficult to answer. And what looks to be the last one, Dr. Fart WI3UR. Do you think Monster Hunter World going global affected the community in a negative way? Talking elitists, graphics over everything, people and the likes. If we want to talk like net sum, the answer is I would say no. If you want to say has there been a negative impact, Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Popular is as popular does, and social media is as social media does. It's not that bad, though. It's just loud, right? The guys who are, like, really, first of all, most of them are on Twitter X or whatever. And that's, just don't go there. Whatever. Interact with it as little as you have to. At least that's where I see like the worst of it. Even like I check the Reddit every once in a while for Monster Hunter. Even the Reddit's not that bad. Reddit's not that bad. It's a little obnoxious sometimes, but it's not that bad. I feel like the worst of it's on Twitter. I think about the Rise critique that I did, right? Because Rise is a controversial game. Rise has its detractors. And every once in a while, because that video still gets comments, and, you know, the bulk of which came in when that video was new, I'll get, like, Rise dislikers. And a lot of them, very eloquent, very well-spoken, you know, very, like, to the point, even if I don't agree with them, is like, I get where they're coming from, I get their points, I get their arguments, and we're on our way, and, you know what, all's fair. I don't get too many, like, fuck Rise comments. I get a couple, though, and when I do, they're hilarious. It's all in caps, and there's barely an argument, and they barely speak English. They barely speak fucking English, dude. Like, maybe I just have thick skin, maybe, but like I see these toxic people, right? This toxic community. These scuzbags, they're just funny. They're just funny. Read what they read. They're goofballs. They're goobers. They're screaming and hollering and yelling about the dumbest stuff. And like, yeah, you got like elitists and gatekeepers and whatnot, and this snobby, smarmy little ball bag skunks. Fuck them. Who cares? Who cares? Who gives a crap what they have to say? And then, like, graphics over everything people is dumbest people ever. Is there toxicity? Sure. Popular is as popular does. Social media does is whatever. It happens, right? Stuff goes global. This crap happens. And you might get a little burnt out, right? You don't want to go into echo chambers, but you want to find people that just talk respectfully. Listen to one another. That's what I try to do here, right? I try to be authentic, balanced. I don't go like all the way positive, all the way negative. Neither way, right? I just try to just keep it honest, you know? I try just kind of stick in the pockets that are just respectful, non-echo chambers, and you're fine. And that's most of the community, right? That's most of it. If we're talking in like a net total way for the community as a whole, Monster Hunter World going global, definitely a good thing in the long run for the community. We got a lot of new people in here, a lot of new content creators in here, some great new content creators in here, like Hey Jay's in on here, and his series is great. Whether or not you like Asmongold, he's brand new to this stuff. He's really liking the game. Having eyes on the game is going to be really good for its health. And turns out he seems to be like really liking it, which is awesome to see. I'm really happy about that. And the return to the world. The other thing is like World's a really good game, and it's a really good like icon for how video games like. Just making really good video games and having like pretty decent video game like making practices. And they did like the Return to the World campaign, and like millions of people flocked back just to Steam to play a 6-year-old game. And I'm playing the crap out of it still. Like Return to the World started like a month ago, and the campaign's still going. Stuff doesn't last 5 days on the internet, you know? And the Return of the World is still big. People are still talking about it, and it's a good beacon for like how good games can be, and how like what effort looks like when you put it into stuff like this, right? So like lump sum whole, it's been good. There's some really loud dumb people now, and they sound like there's more of them than there are because they don't stop screaming. The best advice, actually like read what they're saying. And just like, this dude's funny. They're funny. They're funny, dude. They're funny. If you treat them like that, You don't even have to, like, laugh at them or pity them to their faces. Just to yourself. Just like, these guys are doofuses. They're funny. They're goofy. They're goobers. And you'll be fine, right? Don't look at them. Don't feed them. Whatever. Let them scream. Let them scream. We'll live. Just let them scream. We're fine. And, that is the note we're going to be leaving on. I can't believe this recording is 2 hours long. It's probably going to be trimmed down a bit, but there wasn't a lot of not talking, so I think this is still going to be about 2 hours long. But, hey, you know what? Long man good. That's what I think, at least. So, yeah, if there's any questions that were missed, they were probably either, like, put in the community posts while I was recording this, because they're still up at this point, and or they got deleted when the first post comments got deleted. So if there's something that was missed or something you want elaborated on or just like whatever, you want me to keep answering questions? I'll keep answering questions. Leave them in the comments below. They're fine. I like talking to you guys. But yeah, so this has been the Q&A for the 1-year anniversary of CR-Volcanic and the 5K special for CR-Volcanic, all mixed into one big, beautiful bag. We're going to do another one of these for 20K subscribers, and if this is any indication, good fucking lord, that thing is going to be long, but hey, you know what? It's fine by me. YouTube likes long stuff, apparently. The fucking online video blew the fuck up. So this is going to be it for right now, and I'll be back pretty soon. Made it all the way to the end of this. Thank you for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Love you very much. Thank you for a fantastic, phenomenal, expectation-defying first year. Let's blow 2024 out of the fucking water. Alright? Bye, guys. Shout out to all the patrons, and special shout out to Nihilus Chimerax, Datboy Doindading, and Pico Plush. Thanks a lot, guys.